posso fazer um vídeo e ponho aqui, estás a ver?
Yeah.
Eu é que não tive paciência para isso.
Pois,
Mas a ideia é fazer isso e não estar sempre a vir aqui, estás a ver?
yeah. E te deixas isso até quando?
É só até ele começar a cantar.
Daqui a 10 segundos, pai.
Hello, good evening. So today we are in Friday Night Talks with EOTEN. Today I have a special guest with me.
Hello, my name is Carlos.
So today I'm going to do a different kind of show. I usually do my shows with Portuguese and speaking in Portuguese. So I'm going to make my first show with a UK band. They released the recent and I'm going to speak in English.
We'll try to translate some parts so everyone can understand what we're talking.
Exactly. So I'm going to...
So we'll first ask them to introduce themselves, I guess.
Olá, Saródio, como é que é? Olha o Nelson, já está.
Yeah, introduce yourselves for the audience.
Yeah. Só drogados sem máscara. Okay, Aaron is missing, so when he enters, then he will present himself. So, EOTEN, when did you start? When I know half of the band is Portuguese and the other half is British. How did you guys learn one on another? How did you meet? How did you meet, basically?
Mm-hmm. So, just a question. The group, was it like international? The group you were talking about? That's kind of interesting because you guys ended up with 2 Portuguese people and not like from all over the place, like UK, Portugal. That kind of combination is quite interesting. Oh. But you guys...
Wait.
But did you guys introduce
I'm having
each
a
other?
problem. No one can hear you on the outside. I'm just going to... Aqui, não é? Aqui. Okay, speak.
Okay.
Okay, now. Okay, it's good now. It's good
you're
now.
going to have to say everything again.
You have to say
That's
everything.
a short thing. So.
from memory, so it's going to be fast.
Exactly. So basically, I'm in a group on Facebook called the Folk Metal Grove for the folk metal fans, and I saw an advert on the Folk Metal Grove from Aaron, who's joining us shortly. Asked if there's anybody who wants to get involved with an online collaboration project. I recently just started taking some recording stuff at home on bass anyway. So I thought, yeah, this sounds like fun. So got talking to Aaron. About the same time, he recruited Tiago on vocals. We then, Tiago's good friends with Ricky. There's Aaron, Speak of the Devil, and he's still joining.
Hello.
And Ricky, who's friends with Tiago before from Portugal, joined the band. And in conversations with Aaron, I said, wouldn't it be really cool if we had some like dual guitar, violin stuff going on? And so we put out another call to arms on the Folk Metal Grove. And lo and behold, Nick answered the call to arms and joined our ranks.
Yeah.
So, new member that appeared, you must introduce yourself, because everyone already did.
The founding father.
Let me just block the room
I'm-
here, because I already had some
Issues.
with people entering the room and done. Okay, so
I think everyone can listen to everyone right now. I think it's operational.
Sounds good.
So who are you?
Well,
Aaron, the founding father.
well,
of
I'm
the
Aaron. I occasionally play guitar in EOTEN.
occasionally.
So just sometimes, when it's bored.
Now and again.
Wojtek. Hello, Wojtek. We have our first foreign person here
From Poland.
greeting everyone here from Poland. Wojtek is a very friend of ours and usually follows all of our programs here in Just a Matter of Opinion. Okay, so
Let's talk about the music in particular, I think.
yeah,
Right now, let's talk about your singles. So if you can give us a bit of an overview of your 3 singles right now that
yeah.
you can find available. So,
So the first thing we released Kingdom of Immortals, thinking that it's quite a good statement track. It summed up what we're about, because we had a few songs in progress and we thought, like, which one says this is what we sound like, this is who we are, what one's got the fist pumping, you want to get the crowd going straight
who
away.
you are, that's important, of course.
Exactly. And there it was. So Aaron, you wrote that one, so you can tell us a bit more about how that one came about.
Yeah, I think honestly the thing for me that made it a great release, as the first one, was the fact that it opens with that chorus. I think that was a good way to say to fans, this is the part you sing along to. It's the first thing you hear. So I think that was a good way to start things off, really.
Maybe you're going to talk a little bit about the song, and maybe next we're going to play it, so everyone can know what you're talking about, because maybe the people here didn't hear any of your work. So I think we're going to start with that. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the lyrics, then we can show the song, and then we talk about the musical aspects.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what does Kingdom of Immortals speaks about in this?
So Aaron actually wrote the first couple of tracks when he put out a call to arms, as it were, on the Folk Metal Grove for members to join. And off the back of those 2 tracks, me and Aaron got talking over Facebook about ideas for a concept album. We go with a storyline about this effectively this right-hand man of the great king. The king's murdered, the right-hand man flees out into the wilderness, and the evil usurper of the throne pursues him. And by the time the track Kingdom of Immortals comes along, it's a song about, this big battle, effectively, as to who's going to be the one to claim the golden throne. Is it going to be the evil usurper, or is the king's right-hand man?
A story for all your songs that is related to a world. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so we are going to show the first music, Kingdom of Immortals.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk a little
and
bit.
then we will continue our
quest
quest.
for the EOTEN sound.
I'll fight for a kingdom of gold, a war led by thousands of foes. Victorious army of heroes behold, I'll reclaim the gold of quest is done, the army side by side. They bought the golden throne at the price of their life. To To the sky, the morning's weighing heavy on the fuselage, and drunk in his power, the king turns to say, 10,000 more would fall if that meant I would reign. I struck down that with a flash of the blade, and one wanted steady smoke as his mind began to fade, as the fire is fading out.
Kingdom of Immortals from EOTEN. So in this song you talk about the golden throne in the Kingdom of Stone.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that because obviously I have to know the lyrics because I have to sing them.
I mean, sometimes not the vocalist
so-
that makes it, but yeah.
Yeah, but actually, Aaron wrote most of the lyrics.
Oh.
I just changed everything. not everything. I always tell him I take what he does, and I just say exactly the same
Improve
thing,
it.
but in a very complicated way.
Oh, You like
That's
to
that's
make
what I
it
do.
more
It's the
more flourishing.
Yeah, basically.
I think with the English language, most English people are really bad at speaking the English language. It usually takes a foreign person to speak English better than we do.
You take your
So,
language for granted, and other people don't. Sometimes that's the problem.
Yeah, actually, to be Portuguese and to speak English, first it's hard because we think about it the way that we think Portuguese, which is different. But then it's easier because we did not grow up speaking English, so it's not as worn out like our Portuguese is, full of colloquialisms and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I
So
was mentioning.
it makes it easier to write. Yeah.
Because you always think.
So
in a very
as
formal way,
as
in a
for
formal
the
way.
yeah, basically. Also, hearing these guys speaking with a British accent, it makes it easier too, because I work on a daily basis with Americans, and it's so hard. I don't know. It's like American English is it's harder to speak. You hear it like all the time, but it's harder to speak when you want to speak and you think about British English. It just helps you out. At least to me, it does.
Yeah,
When I'm trying to speak with Americans, it's just a mess.
and everything related to like that kind of style that you're making is very British, like because America has no recollections of those periods.
Basically.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it kind of gets
Listen,
lost.
it always sounds like a movie if you think about that, right? If you think about Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
and
Speaking of
you
that,
hear-
we can talk a little bit about like influences, like lyrics, like musicians
of course,
and books that influence. Because if your story, if your music is very story driven, there must be authors that help and give you ideas.
yeah. At least for me and for what I do, it's not very different than most metal bands. Obviously, I'm very influenced by talking, but also I have a degree in English and Spanish literature, and so I had to read a lot of stuff. And Robert Louis Stevenson also. The best book I read throughout college was The Treasure Island. It's just an awesome book. It was so different than everything that I had to read.
Actually, one of my favorite books is Treasure Island.
Yeah, it's an awesome book, and it didn't seem as I don't know. It's hard. It's more honest than most of the books that I read. I had to read like a lot of stuff from Shakespeare and Alexander Pope and William Wordsworth.
Can you elaborate
and then,
a bit, like what you mean by honest? Like,
yeah, of course. Even though the Treasure Island is doing like a criticism on Victorianism, it feels like Robert Louis Stevenson was trying to tell a cool story, a story that you read and that you just like and you can enjoy.
so it's not like a political statement too much in your face. That's what you mean.
Yeah, and everything else that I was reading at the time, it was just full of tiny criticisms and references to something else, and it was like the books were full of themselves.
So they're more like a way to speech propaganda or your ideals more than
basically.
the actual story being entertaining. That's
Exactly, and that one, even though it was criticizing the time period, not the 1800s, but rather 1900s. It was it felt more honest as far as the storytelling goes, and storytelling is obviously very important. But it's not only the books, you know. It comes to us from movies, from computer games. It's like everywhere, and I just love that stuff. And I try to show that a little bit in the lyrics. Just always prioritize the story, and it was the same thing with Kingdom of Immortals. When Aaron writes, you understand what he's saying, because he writes from within the story. Okay? He's living the story. But I'm not living the story. I tell it from the bard's perspective.
Yeah.
So I look at the story from outside, and even though I can sometimes speak as one of the characters, I always feel like I have to give a little bit more information, because when you are living something, you have all the information in your head and you don't have to explain it to anyone. Yeah. But when you are telling a story, you have to at least set up what's going on, or else no one will understand that. Yeah. So if I'm telling the story from the point of view of me, or I, or us, and we did that, and we did that, and they said this about us, the people who are listening to that are actually missing a huge chunk of the information that's held there, because we are not telling that. Yeah. So I feel like we have to do that, and it's the same thing with the Kingdom of Immortals. I mean, a fight for a Kingdom of Stone became our catchphrase. Okay? Every Facebook post, it's in our church.
Yeah,
that we will receive very soon.
Branding, basically.
Yeah, it's like a fight for the Kingdom of Stone. Yeah. Join the fight for the Kingdom of Stone. Don't let Tiago in the pool distract you from the fact that there's a fight for the Kingdom of Stone going on. So
you're gathering your allies.
Exactly.
for the fight.
so it's one part of the story, right? Because like Aaron said, like in Jesse, the guy leaves, right? The guy leaves his kingdom because his king gets murdered, and he goes into the wilderness. But then he goes with some of the survivors, and they don't have anywhere else to go. So they decide to try and take the Golden Throne of Legend. And the Golden Throne of Legend is in a place called the Kingdom of Stone. And they have to do a lot of stuff just to get there. And all of the stories in our album are what happens between the moment that they leave the castle, or when they lose the first battle, up until the last one, when EOTEN wakes up.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys, like, in terms of that idea of the kingdom that fights, do you guys are in a way just making that embellishment, idolizing of the way of the warrior, or do you define more like the crude, hard parts about war, not only what is gained but also what is lost? How do you guys see that perspective?
Yeah, see, I think with the concept that we've got, there's quite a different slant, because especially a lot of contemporary fantasy literature, and like, look at things like Game of Thrones, it threw fantasy on its head, it turned all up down. And
me and Ricardo were talking, this is like Game of Thrones. Of course, it's not. There's much more to it, but you're like,
exactly. There's like,
that's the first thing you think.
Yeah, you take the tropes, but you spin them. So the second track we released, which could segue to our next song. The second track we released Yeah, Swords to the Sky. Originally, we called it Dwarves because it was a song about a dwarven cave. And when writing the concept for it, we thought, well, what if, dwarven greed is spoke about a lot on like Tolkien, and you talk about the dwarves as inventors and innovators and digging quite deep. Skyrim touches on what the dwarves were like, and there's this greed about them, which is not really explored the negative light in literature. And I thought, well, what if, you got this enemy army pursuing you, and this horrible guy who's killed the throne, he's got an army of horrific beasts he's summoned to help him. The good guys to escape, he hides out in this dwarven keep. What if it's a case like, 300, like in Sparta, where basically these dwarves think, okay, well, this new usurper's got like shitloads of gold. He can totally, they can sell us out. We can get loads of gold. We can sell out this this good guy and get loads of money from the usurper. So a good guy finds himself trapped in this dwarven stronghold, which he thinks he's perfectly safe in. But the greed gets these dwarves, so effectively can sell them out. And it's like,
sometimes the dwarven aspect of greed is taken as granted. It's not like, it's just inherent in nature. It's not like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is a dwarf. And you guys are like, well, but what if someone that has no, like, he's just there doing his business and he gets caught up in that kind of drama, right? That's
but the noble and proud dwarves, dwarves are always very proud, and they're going to be in fantasy literature, but they're proud about dwarven traditions. They don't care much about the kingdom of man. In any dwarven story, they think, humans are pretty shitty already. So I thought, what about twisting that? It's what the dwarves turn on the good guys, There's not many stories where the good guys have to face up against the dwarves, and there's an enemy army outside the gates.
Because dwarves are always allies. It's like dwarves are allies.
That reminds me a game, an RPG I play online. That's called Guild Wars.
Right.
Yeah, and on the first Guild Wars, the dwarves are very prominent in the game. There are two factions of the dwarves. There are the good dwarves and the bad dwarves, so to say. On Guild Wars 2, there's a gap of 200 years. And on the second game, there are no dwarves. The dwarves have disappeared. No one knows where are they. There are someone who say about the greed of the dwarves. They
consume
disappeared.
Themselves.
Basically, because on the story they turned into stone, and there are only two dwarves living. One completely made of stone, and one living just ahead of the dwarf. But he speaks and he lives. But that's great to see another tale about dwarves that speak about the greed.
I think it's a matter of tropes. Like, people are a bit tired of that trope of like every race is just have some characteristics, but they're not analyzed or have some meaning.
They're all friendly. We have an elf and a dwarf.
And that's
let's
cool
go fight.
because like Tolkien, like, he invented many of those archetypes and tropes that we see. But I guess people get tired of seeing people rip off that idea that, the elves must be like this, dwarves must be like this, and they're trying to do something different, and you guys are doing too, and that's great.
Okay.
So maybe we're gonna hear another song.
Before we start to hear the Swords to the Sky, we have a comment here from Ana Ferreira that's saying EOTEN is just perfect.
I agree.
No bias there.
No.
It's kind of cheating.
Okay, so I'm going to play Swords to the Sky. So we will speak a bit more after. Okay.
fleeing army stripped down to a few, taking shelter inside of its walls from thousands of creatures who hold them in siege, and fiercely attacking the doors to save all their lives from the hordes of the dark. The man must hold down the fort. That hold them in siege, locked in the dwarves, they get promise of gold, and fear the wrath of the fiends of the dark. They're monstrous and wretched and vile and cold. They save their own skin and give for the rich. The dwarves they betray for the gold they besiege. If humans are proud and they think they can fight, just open the doors and let them try.
Sword to the Sky from EOTEN.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about the production part. Did you guys do everything yourselves? Where did you record? Who did the drums? Because from my understanding, there's no drummer here.
Yeah, so it was all
Wait,
Disney produced.
Aaron went away and I have the room blocked. So.
Yeah.
So we can jump back on board. So Sword to the Sky. Originally, it was a song that I wrote for my other band.
Oh, okay.
Still very active, and we're more of like a kind of a pretty aggressive like really angry, like melodic death metal bands. And so when I came on scratch this song, which I codenamed Dwarves at the time, they were like, guys, it sounds like a folk metal song. This isn't a folk metal band. This is like we're an angry melodic death metal band. This isn't for us. And so I said to Aaron, I've got this really cool song, you know. I think it might be a little bit too heavy for EOTEN. What do you reckon? He said, no, this is cool. You know, black metal part at the end could be an interesting twist on what we do. So before we're going to be, you know, power metal and and then we sort of thought, you know, we could integrate some like sort of black metal type bits into our stuff. So it kind of, that was the kind of the track that started introducing slightly more black metal parts to what we're doing. Which is cool because Ricky's quite a fan of black metal, aren't you, mate? You're
this is my jam right now.
Yeah. Every time Aaron says, "I'm thinking about black metal breakdown here," go for it, man.
Yes.
So I started off with my really crude recording I'd done at home. Aaron said, I've got an idea. Let me send it to Ricky, see what he comes up with. Ricky sent us this keyboard part that, oh my God, this hugely layered, massive, symphonic, orchestral monster emerged. And we're like, wow. And this song, you know, I never realised it'd be such this big epic thing all of a sudden.
You guys base the songs out of, you guys have like, how to say, scheme of things like, oh, we first start with this part and that part, or is it more open to like who wants to starts a song?
Yeah, it depends. Because with Swords to the Sky, so I had a song. It wasn't written with any keyboard parts in mind. And then when Ricky put his thing on it, it was suddenly this like became this significantly more epic track. With later tracks, the first track, which well, sort of going back with Kingdom of Immortals, Aaron had written that, and a track called Golden Throne, which we're releasing at the beginning of next month. He'd written a couple of tracks in their entirety, like I'd written Swords to the Sky in its kind of entirety, without the amazing new additions that the guys added to the song. After we had these kind of few tracks we started off with, because obviously whenever it starts a new band, you always have a few songs in your bag that you want to get into a new band.
Idea that you're trying to put together, right?
Yeah, exactly. And later on, Aaron emailed me this idea. He wrote, it's like on the back of it, kind of black metal type feel. He wrote this riff. It was like this amazing black metal, kind of really heavy, sound like a huge Titanic giant thing. This one riff. I was like, wow, that song, that's the giant song. He's like, yeah, I'm thinking about this in the title track. The song is EOTEN. Yeah, it's a giant black metal song. It sounds huge. That's a big monster. This is EOTEN. So yeah, cool. So I took his black metal riff. I wrote a kind of like acousticy sort of like verse type riff that kind of accompanied it. Then Aaron added a bit more, and between us, we kind of ping pong riffs. I mean, I never actually met Aaron face to face, but we were emailing each other, Facebook Messenger, sending each other these tracks back and forth, and we came up with a rough structure. But again, because I recorded half of it from home, Aaron recorded half of his from home, but he's a trained producer. He knows what he's doing. There's my really shoddy recordings, his amazingly high production recordings. And then again, we sent it to Ricky. Ricky made these amazing orchestral symphonic parts over the top of it. And suddenly it was like, wow, yeah, now this sounds like a real song. So it became this formula of me and Aaron ping-ponging songs between each other, or riffs to each other, until it becomes a structure. Ricky adds some amazing overlays to it. And then...
interesting, because it's really hard to have like a band together, like in the same city, and you guys are doing it in totally different places. Like that's really cool that you guys were able to craft something that is just the beginning, but it's already sounding strong and with a good direction. Like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. Like, that's really cool, because bands sometimes like release a single, then release something and span about like 2 years. Hey, we're gonna release something, and then nothing comes out. And you guys were able to with those adversities to come out with really that's shaping up really good. So in terms of drums, who did the drums for the tracks?
It was R2D2.
Great friend of ours.
I don't know where is he. I want to interview the R2D2.
He's lost an ether somewhere, Mr. Digital Drummer. He gets kind of, between me, Ricky, and Aaron, he becomes this sequenced weird conglomerate that no one really knows where he originated from and who finished him. It's a strange. It's the mystery of the absent digital drummer.
Yeah, maybe he lives in the land that you speak of, like you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Kingdom.
We summon him from the Kingdom of Stone. It's a really satanic ritual, and we have to light 13 candles, sacrifice 7 goats, and other things, and the drums appear. We don't know where they come from. There's some weird ghosts on the internet. It's like Ghost in the Machine, but a kind of, of sort of mythical proportions.
James, just looking a bit here to the comment section. So Wojtek is saying, I like this style very much. So you have one more fan from Poland. Paulo Assunção is saying, hey there. Olá, Paulo, tudo bem? And Wojtek is asking, is progressive
maybe
metal or progressive hard metal?
Maybe we should talk a little bit in Portuguese, because we're going to talk a little bit in Portuguese.
Just to respond to Wojtek. He's asking progressive metal or progressive hard metal?
Not.
I don't know, because we started off with the idea of being like a symphonic power metal band, but we met on a folk metal forum, but we've got black metal parts, but we've got, all sorts. So we're just this like...
I think
the mix of...
I think the term progression here is applied to like the fact that they have lyrics that then change the mood, and then they change also the mood of their songs. Maybe that's a bit progressive, because it's not always the same style in a song. I think that's a fair judgment.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, when you think about a battle, and on Kingdom of Immortals, the harsh bits came from. I was recording my part, and I'm a huge fan of Amon Amarth, and when the distortion guitar came in, I was like, it's just asking for it. And because it wasn't supposed to happen, right? We were a power metal band, and I was like, okay, you guys, can I give it a try and perhaps do this? And you tell me what do you think? And I think everyone liked it, and we rolled with that. But and the song becomes more serious. As for Swords to the Sky, I only do growling vocals, I think, on the chorus, but it's with lots and lots and lots of layers of voice of the choir. But then Aaron does the part when they are fighting, so that adds to the feel, the rage, and the bloodshed, and because like we were talking about, the good guys, they are stuck in a dwarven fortress, and there's an army of monsters outside, and they get betrayed by the dwarves, and the dwarves open the doors, but then it becomes easier for the good guys to kill the enemies because they have to come through a door. So even though they are thousands, it's much easier. So they just go into this rage mode, this bloodthirsty mode, and they just start hacking and slashing, and they kill everything that moves, and they kill the monsters, and they kill the dwarves. Actually, Aaron sings that, and they made their way through monsters and dwarves, and I think that kind of stuff just adds to the story. I mean, if you are watching The Lord of the Rings, and there's an orc army attacking, even the music is heavier, it's gloomier, and all of that. So if we are telling a story, I think it would be we would be cheating the fans out of the experience that the music can give them.
Yeah, and
the
screaming in the specific places, it shows another kind of emotion. It shows anger, it shows despair, it shows chaotic nature. It's not as pleasant to hear, but it's harsh, right?
Yeah, and also the story that we are building, it's kind of like a tragedy, because it's a heroic story about a guy who he's very misfortunate because his king died, his city fell, he had to go into exile with his men. He keeps getting betrayed and chased down by monsters, And
Poor guy.
yeah, basically, so
Poor guy.
it starts like this descent into corruption and into, I wouldn't say madness, but something close to that,
Close.
The desperation, maybe.
basically. So he's changing as the story progresses. So after a while, he has to have those feelings pop out, and they do in Swords to the Sky, and it kind of helped the fact that in Kingdom of Immortals, half the song is with growling vocals, because that's one of the last songs, and it's when he gets killed by his men, because he is so taken with the fact that he had just won the Golden Throne, that he does not allow his men time to grieve for the thousands of brothers that they lost in the fight for them. So he's already taken with madness and desperation and all of that. So it all of this is serving one purpose. And I think that having these bits just makes for a better storytelling, like books and stuff.
That's why we thought the importance as well, like when Nick joined the band, because there's this, a lot of it's like a folk tale. You need to have a proper folk instrument and the element of folk metal to make it kind of. So at the beginning of Swords to Sky, you've got this, the fiddle melody. You've got that.
Talking about the music, let's talk a bit about your influences in terms of the music, like what artists you guys listen and are trying to take inspiration from.
Yeah, see, I mean, personally, Iron Maiden have always been one of my favourite bands, being a bass player, and Steve Harris writes so much of Iron Maiden's tracks, so the bass line is so key, it's the backbone of what Maiden do, and that could have inspired, so a lot of my tracks, that the bits I've written have got quite the bass line does quite a lot of funky stuff, the guitar's playing a really basic riff, the bass has doing interesting stuff, you can tell that the bits I've written to wrote with me.
Technical aspects rather than the full songwriting in terms, just bass aspects right now.
Yeah, and other influences, we're obviously start with folk metal fans, so personally Tori's Us, Ensiferum.
They also use the harsh vocals a lot in their songwriting to show also that stiff moments of war.
Exactly, and also
you can all talk, like, if you can name one or two bands each, just so we can have any idea, like, in general.
For my part, definitely, when you think metal, you don't usually think keyboards, right? You think like church music or some shit. So to me, the bands that when I first heard it made keyboards sound cool, because I started playing fairly late. I was like 19, I think. So to me, it was Nightwish, Sonata Arctica, Cradle of Filth, something like that.
Yeah, because they have a lot of keyboards, especially Nightwish. Yeah. What else? Let's Nick. Yeah, Nick can.
Super. Well, so my role in songwriting in this song, usually most of it's already written before it sort of arrives at my plate, and I add something to it. So I tend to draw more from my sort of classical experience and orchestral, and we'll add some kind of technical flourishes, because let's say the song sort of is mainly there, and I'll add some extra lines and texture on top. So I'm thinking more of film soundtracks and musicals. So I mean, obviously I do play a lot of metal as well and everything, but my contributions to the band, my influences are more outside, I suppose.
Yeah, and that contributes a lot to the lyrics, I think, because it's very story driven, so makes sense that atmosphere makes it more
cinematic, cinematic feeling to the song.
Cinematic.
It's my turn. Okay.
You're the last one.
Yeah, I'm the last one.
Aaron doesn't appear, so
So
sorry, just a minute. Aaron has a Slipknot tattoo, by the way, so you know.
Okay.
That's
So my role in the band, what I do, and this has to do with the stuff that I listen to, is I cut songs. Right, we do the songs. They send me the bits, and I tell them, okay, you have too much verse, you don't have enough chorus, and this bit of the chorus should go there, and there should be a verse here, and that's the kind of stuff that I.
Eternal complainer of everything.
Yeah, I complain and I cut, and sometimes I sing over Nick's parts, and
I think you're going to get replaced very soon.
That
But you
happened.
have a good turn.
Tragic. Someone will be like,
Yeah.
Diego, that's a violin solo. Shut up.
yeah, basically. But okay. As for influences, I don't know. I've been playing all sorts of genres, and all of that influenced me heavily. Not just metal, but rock, and from pop to country and all of that. Because I used to play covers in bars, so I'm very used to short songs. And it's not to say that I won't love bands like Winter Sun and all of that, because
Yeah,
they are
Winter Sun gets
obviously
carried away.
a huge. Yeah, and it's obviously a huge influence to me, but I like short songs because I tend to get bored really quickly. So I don't know. For this band, I try to draw some from obviously Amon Amarth, Camelot, and Rhapsody of Fire. They're like my biggest influences, and also because we play power metal. But the general complaint that I hear about people who listen to power metal is the voice. It's too high. It's just over the top, and I don't have a voice like that.
Yeah.
Even though I could sing that, I'm because
It's always in
actually,
high C's and beyond the fifth octave, all the way.
yeah, and I do that. I do that for a living. I work with Jamie Vendera, and he's renowned for break glasses, and he is a star pupil of Jim Gillette from Nitro.
Jim Gillette, that
From-
guy's crazy.
Break glasses with his voice. You forgot to mention his hands. That's kind of easy.
Yeah, so that's like my daily routine. I work that stuff, but when it comes to singing, I too don't like just up there. It's just too much. So I try to cut back a little bit and stick to my baritone stuff. Just go above a little bit. But as far as influences, guys like Roy Khan from Camelot, Paglioni,
I
of
think
course.
Roy Khan has a really good balance, because I never hear him like go all the way to stratosphere, but he can move a lot and go to the second octave and be comfortable. Because sometimes like power metal singers like think they must be in the fourth octave all the time, like in the fifth octave. And that's kind of gets too much all the time, too much pressure, I think.
Exactly. The money notes are in the passaggio.
Yeah.
Those are the money notes. If you go above that all the time, then it just becomes tiresome.
Yeah, because it doesn't have that light and darkness. It's always bam in your face. Okay, let's talk about concerts right now. Like, do you guys plan on having? I mean, not right now because it's impossible. But do you guys plan like to meet up to do tours, or it's just a project for studio?
We're definitely interested in playing gigs, but yeah, it's tough being an international band at the moment because there's a lot of really great stuff happening in the UK as far as folk metal, power metal, all the kind of genres which we can fit into. But if Tiago and Ricky come over to England, they have to be isolated for 2 weeks. In fact, now Nick's over in Ireland as well. Actually, he's going to be quarantined for 2 weeks as well. So it's not really sustainable for us to play a gig over here at the moment. So yeah, in short, we would love to. We started off as an online band, but I think we're now at the stage where we'd love to play some gigs. But logistically, it's very challenging at the moment.
Yeah, and also Brexit is gonna make a toll for those that want to come from other countries.
Exactly. I mentioned in an online thing recently that part of the reason I love being in a fantasy metal band, singing about fantasy issues, is because political issues in England are so fucking depressing at the moment.
So let's speak a bit about the last song, EOTEN. How did you come up to speak with Elliot Vernon from Hailstorm? How did you guys?
How did that come
How
about?
did it happen? Yeah.
So we need Aaron for this bit. Aaron managed to, I think, being a long-term Hailstorm fanboy, I suspect he stalks all the members of Aaron. I think he stalks all of Hailstorm on a regular basis. And he eventually managed to, he sort of sent Elliot the track, and Elliot basically said to him, I get a lot of songs from a lot of bands. He said, but this is actually quite good, so yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
What? So we were like, pretty amazed that, So he liked the track, and he said, yeah, you'll go for it. So
it was a very
when Aaron...
Here it is. Do you like it? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because he first... he was saying it was Magnetic North by Hailstorm. He's listening to the track and I wouldn't be wicked if we got Elliot from Hailstorm doing backing vocals, because his like harsh vocals on Magnetic North are so cool and they'd work so well for EOTEN. I was like, yeah, they would, but there's no chance. So, well, I'll ask him. I'll try. And I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Then a few days later, he was like, yeah, he said he'll do it.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so sometimes we think of our idols like unreachable, when it's just a step away to like, if you have a good track and have like something solid, most of the times, I mean, you must pay something for most of the time, but they'll consider it. Like, yeah, sometimes there's that line like, oh no, they're above here, we're just small guys.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, when we first started, we had a human drummer, not the weird mystery drummer, and our human drummer was in a band with Elliot a long time ago, and we didn't realise until after Elliot said he'd do it. The drummer at first was like, "Oh no, Elliot always, he says he'll do these things, he never gets around to it. He's got a lot of friends, so keep on top of it." And when Elliot agreed properly, he said, "Yeah, I'm definitely going to do it. I'll get to record it." Yeah. Then the drummer said, "Oh, I used to be in the band with him, so I know him quite well." So why didn't you bloody tell us that ages ago? So that's the way the British metal scene's a bit like that. It seems that everybody knows somebody by somebody else. And it's usually only when you get to certain stages where somebody will turn around and say, "Oh, he's not a mate of mine."
A little bit about that, about the UK scene. Like, how is it?
Nick, you'll know. Nick's much more. I've not played gigs for about 6 years. Much more present on the scene.
Yeah, I've been hopping around for a while. There's quite a lot of
what can you say about
up and down the country. So for folk metal, definitely up there. In fact, I'm wearing a T-shirt for a folk metal festival, which is a great spot recommended for anyone from anywhere in the world who wants to see any kind of folk metal.
War horns.
It's probably backwards. War horns.
Yeah. War horns.
I think Gwydion are going to play at War horns.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think it's.
I didn't.
It's HRH Vikings that Gwydion are playing. It's in Sheffield. It's Jesse.
Okay.
Yeah, HRH Vikings is. Okay. In fact, the only member of the band I've physically met is Nick. Where a week or two after we invited him to join the band, I bumped into him. Well, I messaged him on HRH Vikings. I saw him and I said, "Oh, you HRH Vikings?" Yeah, so we went for a pint together. So he's the only person in the band I've actually met. I've had no contact with the rest of these guys. It's all very weird. But HRH Vikings is amazing because it's now this 2-day festival that brings this kind of niche music together. And you've got bands who are quite new in the scene, rubbing shoulders with bands that are very prevalent in the scene. So you've got smallish bands playing alongside people like Tory's Ass, people like Tudor, Ensiferum are headlining it in December if it goes ahead. Yet they'll also give space to local bands who can play to this niche audience, or something like Warhorns, as Nick mentioned as well. There's another festival that's appeared recently on the Isle of Wight called Heli Festival, which has got a lot of the local kind of power metal bands in England playing there, and a few of our friends are playing that one as well. So there's a really big scene for power metal, folk metal.
Actually,
it's really going to be nice.
That's very different here in Portugal. Power metal and everything epic metal. There's nothing really.
In Portugal is more
death metal,
thrash, death and grind. We have a question here from Wojtek. He is asking, where are you from?
So personally, we're in Sheffield.
Chef.
Nick.
And Tiago and Ricardo are from Portugal. So
Yeah,
Right.
region of Porto.
Porto.
Actually.
Oh, Porto.
With an accent.
Yeah, but no,
Actually,
I'm from
we last year, I think, or this year, last year, we sent some emails to some fests,
A lot of fests.
a lot of fests, including the UK, a lot of fests. We don't know how
Operates like the
how it
yeah.
operates from foreign bands like us.
Basically,
from
we were
Portugal.
trying out to see if something will stick. Basically, was, but you were actually saying that it's very much about who you know, and that was actually my my take on every kind of music. Actually, it's not so much like your song is, oh, this is amazing, the best ever. It's very much, yeah, I know that guy and he's cool, so it's gonna play it.
Yeah, people will. I mean, I think naturally people will be inclined to give their friends or friends of a friend, an upper hand, because I think that's the thing in metal as well. There's a big camaraderie in metal, a brotherhood, as it were. And because of that, the situation is, if you're an unsigned band, but one of your mates knows somebody who knows someone in a bigger band, because you've got a connection, you're more likely to get the gig. So I think it's the good side and the bad side of metal being a bit of a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
we're
so
gonna wrap
we
it up.
are on 1 hour of program, so I'm going to pass the last song, EOTEN, featuring Elliot Vernon. So we will say our goodbyes now. Don't go away there, so we can speak a little bit.
Do you
more
guys have
after
anything to say?
after the program? If you have anything to say to our fans here that are watching,
Yeah, tune in. We've got on the 6th of November, we're doing a live launch of our next single.
Okay.
And we've got guest appearances where we've got guys from Battleborn and Atalk joining us on our live stream, because the video features guest appearances from members of the public and members of other bands, all doing silly things on camera. So it should be really fun. 6th of November, EOTEN's Facebook page.
Yeah.
exactly. So I want to thank you to accepting this proposal from me to be here online with me. So it's my first time with an outside band from Portugal.
Half
Outside.
inside the country, another.
Outside, exactly. I hope you guys like the show. Hope to see more from you. This time, 6th of November. 6th of November.
6th of November.
6th of November. A new song from EOTEN. Don't forget, we have a giveaway on our page. Feel free to go to our page and follow the instructions to the giveaway. Once we reach 1,000 followers, we will we'll see who wins the giveaway. So tomorrow we still don't have a program, but Nelson is going to share a short bit of the next program he is going to make. Sunday, and don't forget, we have the quiz night. On Mondays we have conspiracy theories with me and Nelson. Tuesdays we have Paulo with Caças e Andorinhões. On Wednesdays we have Yolanda with Just About That, where she speaks about alternative medicine. On Thursdays we have Sophia with A Vast Universe, and always on Fridays I have here one more metal band to show to everyone. And that's it. So once again, thank you to be here with me.
Thank you so much.
Let's pass
Thank you, guys.
to the next song, and we will speak a little bit more after the show. Okay?
All right. See ya.
And a curse fell upon the army who betrayed him, to serve till the end of days, or until the king himself would return from the dead to put an end to their plight. But they were all deceived. For something else lurked in the dark, a foul beast of darkness, whom the king's son